Hello and welcome to Beyond the Bio. This week I'm joined by Gavin Bell, who is a video marketing expert and the founder of Yatter, a platform helping businesses turn content into meaningful conversations and leads. Long before AI made video easier, Gavin built a powerful personal brand through sheer consistency, publishing weekly videos even when he openly admits he was terrible at the start. I'm looking forward to hearing about those. So that commitment helped him to grow a business, generate hundreds of thousands of organic views and create real commercial opportunities. After stepping back from his personal brand to focus on building Yatter, he is now returning to video with a completely new perspective on what works, what doesn't, and how AI is changing the game. So today we're going to be talking about video, personal branding, and the lessons that only come from doing it the hard way. Welcome to the show, Gavin.
Thank you for having me.
Excited to pick your brains about this. So you threw yourself into video back in 2017. What made you take that leap when most people at that point were still terrified of being on camera?
Well, I think the truth was I was terrified of being on camera, but I had I'd gotten into the marketing world and I had realised that there was an opportunity there to be the Facebook ads guy. That was sort of my goal and my ambition. So I asked the question, what's the best way of doing that? And I was following the likes of Gary V back then and came to the conclusion that video was the best way for me to be able to get myself, my personal brand out there. And that then set me up with the challenge of, well, how do you do that? How do you get yourself out there as at the time, relatively unconfident person? And I would have been relatively young back then, so worrying about what friends and family are going to think about you. But that was the decision. It was a case of, I need to get myself known in a specific industry, and video, I think, was and still is the best way of doing it.
Where were you putting these videos?
So to start off with, it was, everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Are you using the same videos for each of those?
Yes. So when I first got started, I knew I was terrible. I knew I was terrible because I lived in a small flat at the time, and I was like, well, I can't record in the flat because I'm trying to get myself, this is what I thought at the time, I need to get myself out there, look professional, trustworthy, so I can't record in the flat. So what do? Well, do I go outside? And I also knew that I was terrible because it was awkward, the amount of takes that I used to take. So I decided, right, I need to embrace this, and I started a challenge, which was film 100 videos in 100 days. No editing, no storytelling, just, this is not to get views. This is purely to get better at the skill of making video. And that's what I did. That's how I got started. And my first video, I spoke about going outside. I genuinely just did go outside, and I found a forest where
This is quiet.
Exactly. I thought, where can I film a video that's not a terrible little flat, but it's outside where nobody can see me? So I took my camera or phone at the time into a forest and filmed a video about how to get more followers on Twitter. And that was my start into the world of video. The first 100 videos didn't do anything, but what they did do was, they didn't do anything in terms of opportunities, but what they did do was help me get better and more confident on camera.
So if I watched video 100 versus 1, I'd see a big difference.
I'd like to think so, yeah. And as I was getting near the end, I thought, I'm actually starting to like this video thing. And that then gave me the idea of, well, let's start a weekly vlog where I do go into maybe a bit more storytelling or have an idea or a topic. And those started to get, a couple of thousand views a week. This was I was posting them everywhere, but this was mainly on Facebook at the time, where you could post something on Facebook organically and actually get some views. And I started to get a few thousand views, and then I started to think about, right, well, how do we get more? And I started doing collaborations with other creators in Scotland. And it was at this point where I took a little bit of in hindsight, I can see a diversion down the wrong path, because what happened was, I think I was filming the weekly video. I called it The Journey, and it was my life as an entrepreneur, or the journey that I'm taking as building a business. But I filmed my weekend one week, and that video did so much better. I can't remember exactly what I was doing, hiking a hill or something like that.
So it wasn't business related.
It wasn't business. And I went, hold on a minute, that was quite easy. Why don't I just start filming my weekends? And that's what I did. And then every weekend I'd be hiking a hill or going somewhere in Scotland. Those videos started to get huge amounts of views, hundreds of thousands a week.
That's a lot, isn't it? But it was the ones that were the fun ones.
It taught me a lesson which was, I realized if I made a video about myself, I would get maybe a couple of thousand views, but those would just be people that already knew me. They wouldn't reach a new audience of people that didn't know me, because somebody's going, why would I care about this guy if I don't know who he is? But the videos about the weekend was typically about something else.
Yeah.
A place I'm going or something that I'm doing.
When you were getting those much higher views, was that correlating to leads and sales?
No.
So it was more of a vanity thing?
It was 100% pure ego.
Oh, so did you then at some point decide not to do those anymore then? What happened there?
So I was making those videos probably for a good couple of years. All my numbers across all my socials were doing great. The numbers of views were doing great. But I had a realization a couple of years in that I've built an audience of Americans, basically. Americans that weren't in business, were just watching this young Scottish guy talking about Scotland. And I thought, it's fun. And it did create opportunities in terms of speaking opportunities, and I was on TV a couple of times. And I dare say I probably could have gone and created a career in presenting Scottish TV. But
been interesting.
Yeah, but that wasn't what I wanted to do. I was like, so there was almost a wake up of, I'm spending a huge amount of time and energy on this, but it's not actually converting into money or business opportunities. So I stripped it all away and essentially started from scratch again and started to create the business content. And that was extremely challenging, because you're going from hundreds of thousands of views to basically nothing. And the algorithms clearly confused at who you are, what you stand for, and who you're trying to reach. So that was a challenging time, but I knew that was what I had to do. And that then was one of the deciding factors or the influences in then building Yatter, the agency. So,
and we'll talk about that in a moment. That sounds really interesting. But just picking up on the point around having that realization and then changing direction, what advice would you give to someone now to make sure that they're building visibility with the right people from the start?
The two things are, one, what do you actually want to achieve? So are you looking to try and get views, or are you trying to get customers or leads? Those are two very different routes. If you're going down getting views and followers, it's a very different route to if you're trying to get customers and leads. And the main change in that is the business content that gets you leads and customers generally doesn't get the views and engagement. You'll get some, but it's very rare that I've found that stuff will go viral. Whereas if you are chasing the views and the followers, that's when you can start doing crazy stunts and things to get attention. It's a pure attention game versus a value game. So understand what you're trying to achieve. And then the second step to that is, well, who are we actually trying to target? Because if you're trying to target women in business versus, let's say, depends what your niche is, women in business versus a client of ours targeted people that wanted to learn how to play the bass guitar. Very different niches again.
Yeah.
And the style of content, the style of language, the channels and the platforms that you use are all going to be vastly different as well. So what's the North Star? What are you trying to achieve? And then who are we trying to target? Once you've got those two things, everything else should become clearer. One of the things that used to help me, or still does help me, is if you're having a conversation with somebody in real life, you don't have to script the conversation or think too deeply into who's the person, what's their objectives. You just have the conversation. And I think we often overcomplicate content by trying to do those things, where actually if we just knew what we were trying to achieve and who our target market was, we'd have it'd be a lot easier for us to just communicate to the camera.
And on that point around maybe overthinking things, what's your view on, uh, I guess, quantity over spending too much time overthinking and plotting things out and having less stuff? Like, do you think it's better to be more prolific and maybe not always get it right?
I think in these days, I think quantity is probably better than quality, for the fact that a piece of content is so fleeting. You post it and everybody's forgotten about it in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I see on, so my main platform is LinkedIn, and I do well on LinkedIn, and I love LinkedIn because you only have to post a couple of times a week and that's consistent, right? But when I see people on Facebook and Instagram, which I'm on, and I'm starting to use both more for business, but I don't really get them yet. They're still like, I just have a bit of a go, but I definitely am not consistent other than my stories, which I'm quite consistent with on Instagram in particular. But when I see other people, particularly people in the online business space, which is very different, like they are not so much on LinkedIn, they're definitely on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok as well. And I see them post stuff literally 4 or 5 times a day. They're posting actual posts on the likes of Facebook and Instagram. And that, I just can't even get my head around what the heck I would post that often. Do you think people need to be posting as much as that?
I don't know how I could, without a large team.
Yeah,
You take the likes of whoever's going viral at the moment, Gary V, Alex Hormozy. You look at these people; they have massive
they
teams
do.
purely for their personal brand. So for somebody that's trying to get started or just build a personal brand without a massive team, to be able to post multiple times a day, I think it's going to take up your entire life. Because it's all the little things that take up so much time, like the writing of the caption, the editing, the scheduling, the responding to comments, engagement. That all those things it all compounds the more that you create. So personally, I post 3 times a week now. Would I post 7 times a week if I could? Absolutely.
And on what platforms this? All
So that's
platforms.
all the platforms. Yeah. Again, if I had the time, I would change the content for all the different platforms. But I'm a massive believer in, if you're waiting to do it perfectly,
It'll
you'll just never
yeah, I
start.
totally
You'll
agree.
never
I
start.
totally agree. Is there a platform that's working particularly well for you at the moment?
It's funny. YouTube Shorts is where I get the majority of the views. I don't spend any time or attention trying to optimize for YouTube Shorts, but that seems to be where the algorithm, perhaps because I've got the history of creating business content there, it tends to get me the most views. Not huge numbers by any means, but LinkedIn is still, if we look at pure opportunities, that's what LinkedIn
And is
hands
all
down.
of your content video?
95% of it probably is just now.
Because I know obviously LinkedIn's my platform and I understand it well. And there's been a bit of a flurry of people having a go at video on LinkedIn, but they're not consistent with it. And they do it once and they spend the first half of the video talking about how it's their first time and how awkward they are. And
Yeah.
then before they get to the point. So if you're consistently putting out maybe 3 videos a week on LinkedIn, you must be way ahead of the game in terms of engagement on those videos.
Yeah, I mean, so I took a big break from creating content when I decided to build Yatter.
Yeah.
And the purpose of that was purely, I need to put all my eggs in this one basket, and the personal brand can take a step back for a few years. Getting back into the content, I almost took the same approach that I did back in when I first started in 2017, which was, I just need to start. And so what I've been doing is just filming videos and then scheduling them out across the platforms 3 times a week. And my LinkedIn impressions, if you look at the graph, it's just gone like that. It's like hockey stick. And it's not huge numbers.
It's all relative.
But it's yeah, exactly. And one of the things that I've found that has spiked the impressions even more is when you're combining video with doing a little bit of engagement on other people's posts. That if you can get a comment to the top of someone else's post, and I don't do this scientifically, I just do this as I'm browsing LinkedIn, I'll comment on things. that can have a massive spike in impressions for that post, but then also people coming to your channel and then watching the videos.
Obviously, you've now launched Yatter, so are you not doing the Facebook? So you're doing Facebook ads?
Yes, so Yatter, we founded Yatter in 2021,
Okay.
and we were acquired last year.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So are you doing an earn-out, or are you staying, or
So I've completed my earnout.
Right.
Earnout is done, and that was why I took the pause on the video. And this is probably a really important lesson actually. One of the things I realized with video is it's very easy to become the face of the brand. Um, and if you become the face of the brand, you are going to find it extremely challenging to sell that business. So I launched Yatter knowing that I wanted to sell it, and so I purposely took a step back from video so that my face wasn't near the brand. I still, to be fair, I still did quite a lot of video for Yatter for things like our own ads, but I took a step back on the personal brand front. But now that I've sold Yatter and I've completed the earnout, I've started the personal brand work again, and actually, that was a great decision because I'm back creating content, and now that I've sold the business, I'm able to create content without trying to sell something.
Yeah.
I think my content is far superior now, even though I'm probably a little bit rusty on video.
Just need to do 100.
I need to do exactly.
What's your motivation then for now stepping back into your personal brand?
One of the key motivations is I actually found my communication, as in my ability to speak on camera and on stage, diminished when I stopped creating content. So I thought video is one of the best ways that you can. Everybody has all these ideas and concepts. Video is one of the best ways to take those ideas, make them concise, and then get them out there into the world. And actually, it was more of a personal passion to do that. And I miss the engagement that you get when you start creating content and the conversations that you have and the people that you meet as a result. So those are the two key things, and I think I enjoy it more now because there's not the requirement to try and make money from the activity.
So thinking about, busy founders, or just people in general that are wanting to build their brands, you talk about creating systems around content creation. So what does a simple, realistic system look like for a busy business owner?
I can share mine,
Yeah.
which is, I'm not saying this is the best system, but what I do is every Tuesday is sort of content personal brand day. So I work in almost a 2-week cycle, which is 1 week is come up with the hooks and the rough ideas of the videos, and AI is a great help for being able to do that. And then the following week I film it. So generally it takes maybe half a day each
So you're
Tuesday.
batching your stuff up.
So I batch it all, and then it gets sent to the editor. He edits them, and then I actually use Agora Pulse, which is a platform that allows you to post to all the different channels at once, and you can edit the captions and the videos whilst you're doing it. So it's not just one big batch with the same caption. It's you can individually tweak it. So I use that to distribute.
Do you find using that impacts your reach?
It's all I've ever done, so
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure it probably does, but
the convenience maybe outweighs that for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So that system works really well for me. I know that it's blocked out in the calendar. Every Tuesday I've dedicated half a day to content, and then I can just kind of set it and forget about it.
So what is next for you then in terms of you staying on? Have you got anything you can talk about? Or
Yeah.
what's your plan?
So I left Yatter last year in July, and took some time off, and I'm now working on a new startup. So it's a totally different industry. It's a healthcare brand. I can't say too much right now because it's still in the early days, and we've got a ton of regulation that we need to go through before we become official and launch it. But I'm working on that.
That's exciting.
So yeah, so that'll be another evolution of the content, I think.
And do you feel that now that you've established, some level of consistency and you do have a brand, that it makes it easier to kind of pivot to your next venture?
Absolutely. I think One of the key things I think that video gives you is the ability to create video. It sounds silly, but so many businesses out there aren't creating video. And so in the advertising world with Yatter, almost every agency is creating video because it's marketing. That's what marketers do and are good at. But when you go into a different industry, like the healthcare world that we're going into, nobody's creating video. So I've got this skill set now that I can deploy in a different industry, which I think is going to be able to set us apart from everybody else.
If someone watching or listening knows they should be using video, but they feel nervous or overwhelmed, what would you tell them to do this week to get started?
If somebody's truly scared about creating video content, I would say pick up your phone, record a video. Well, don't feel like you have to share it.
Mm-hmm.
Just take the video. Don't even have to watch it back, but take the video. It's almost the same idea of if you want to go to the gym, just commit to putting your trainers on. Everybody's heard that piece of advice. So I think it's the same with video. Just pick up your phone and record a video. And I think getting better at or committing to something that's really helped me is committing to a written journal, where every day I call it like a learning journal, which is I just try and write an idea or something I've learned that day down in writing. Nobody sees it. No one's allowed to see it. It's just for me. But what that does is it gives me a bank of ideas. Some ideas are good, some ideas are bad. And I tend to, when I'm trying to think of videos that I'm going to make, is go back through that journal and see if there's anything there. So if you're nervous about being on camera, try and commit to something like writing down ideas every day. You don't have to film them, but write the ideas down and then try and film some just for yourself on your phone. And then there is the big step of you have to post it. And I can't give anyone any other advice than you just have to do it. But understand that every video there's so many videos online now that some people will see the video, but the vast majority of people won't, and it'll be gone and forgotten about. So post it and do not worry about engagement, views, followers. You just have to get into the habit of posting. And then 6 months down the line, after 100 videos, you can start to think about, right, how do we optimize my profile? How do we, get better lighting, better camera equipment?
It's funny because when I think about some of the people that I see post a lot of videos, like their early videos were terrible as well. There's a guy I know that posts video very, very regularly now, and he said his first video, it took him like a day to record it because it was so awkward, and it's even what he posted in the end was awkward, but that's just the reality. You're not going to be this confident, polished, professional video from the off. So I think that's very, very wise. What about this thing around the content generation, content ideas? So for someone like me who does a little bit of video sometimes, like how should I approach my strategy? And what sort of stuff should I be posting?
Well, I'd be thinking about, again, who's their target customer? What problems do they have? I think if you start with problems, it's always a good place to start, because you can then create the value of providing the solution or the answer. And then AI is I think, don't fear using AI, but use it correctly. And the way that I like to use it is I have an idea. I've created a document of who my target customer is.
Yeah.
So Claude is my favorite tool at the moment. But you can create a project and upload files into that project. So you can upload things like your ideal customer profile. You can find blogs online on how to create the best content ideas and upload them into Claude. And then what I like to do is start off with, rather than coming up with ideas or scripts, I never like to script things with AI, but is give me, for example, 50 different hooks that solve a problem for my target customer. And it will then give me 50 different hooks. And I'll go through and go, that one could work. I could work that one into something. Normally 45 are not very good, but you get 5 different ideas. And then TikTok is an incredible search engine to go and look at who are people that have the same audience as you, are solving the same problems as you. You can go to TikTok and go to their most popular videos and you can take a look at what videos are doing best for my competitors. And that's going to give you some more ideas too.
I'm going to try that. That's going to be my action. So if someone watching or listening hasn't come across you before, wants to find out what your new healthcare idea is going to be and what happens next, where's the best place for them to find you?
You can find me on all the socials or my website. It's all Mr. Gavin Bell.
Amazing. And we'll pop the links in the show notes to make that super easy. Gavin, this has been really interesting. I feel like I've got some homework to do.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. If you're serious about growing your profile, take our free profile assessment quiz to see where you're at right now and get hints and tips on how to improve your score. You'll find the link to the quiz in the show notes. If you've enjoyed the episode, it would be mint if you'd subscribe, like, and leave a review. See you next Monday.